Can you see the flat area of gravel there in the middle of the screen? I've never noticed that before. Let's see what it is. They say there are no straight lines in nature. These are old railroad ties. We're on the remnants of an old railroad track. We're at Lost Valley. You never know what you're going to find out here. These railroad tracks parallel the old road bed that is now used as a trail. I'm going back to the old road bed to continue on in the direction I was headed. Hopefully I'll be able to keep an eye on these and see where they go. But today we're in search of the forgotten bunker. So curiosity got the better of me when I saw this stack of old railroad ties from the trail. I'm going to follow this railroad bed for a while, see what else might be on it. RG2D14. There's another one up to my left. It's very interesting. RG2B20. I have no clue. So on my last video, I was very excited to discover the Murdoch Cemetery after a couple of failed attempts. It had been many years since I'd been there. It was very overgrown, bushwhacky, and difficult, but it was awesome to find it. And it got me thinking, what else have I found just out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, by accident that I haven't been to in years? And this is where we are today in the Lost Valley area in search of the forgotten bunker. So I call it the Forgotten Bunker for this reason. In 1940, the federal government condemned about 18,000 acres in this area, bulldozed 3 towns, all the farm buildings and houses that were in that area, left only the cemeteries, maybe a few pieces of foundation, a chimney here and there. That was all that was left. Then they built all their facilities to make TNT and DNT for the production of bombs for World War II. There are a lot of facilities in this area. This is the foundation from something, I have no idea what, that's remaining. Not much remains from that time. There was an area that the government called Mechanicsville. It's where all the big buildings were for fabrication of different types of materials, plumbing, electrical, those types of things. All the trades were in that area. Obviously there were railroad tracks running all through this 18,000 acres and roads. There were existing roads, and then the government built their own roads. I found fire hydrants, power lines everywhere in the middle of the woods out here. It's really interesting to explore. Okay, so what happened is, later in the early 60s, the government enriched uranium in this area. They tore down everything from the TNT production, it appears anyway, and built a huge facility for uranium enrichment. That I had seen remnants of in the late 70s. When we were up here, I was a teenager, and I do remember it was a huge, huge building, dilapidated and abandoned for years, of course, by then. Then later the EPA came in, they cleaned everything up, tore all of that out, and created a containment site for all the, the hazardous materials that were part of that cleanup. The only building I have ever found, other than the bunkers that are at Bush Wildlife Conservation Area, the only building that I've ever found left standing is the one I'm looking for today, and it is by far one of the coolest things I've ever seen, just abandoned out in the middle of the woods. So from this point, we'll be bushwhacking, and I'm going to take out a map of this area and show you roughly where we're headed. Okay, so this is a Conservation Department map of the area we're in. We're on the Lost Valley Trail. This is the trailhead. We took the short loop up to approximately this area right here, just before this valley. Now there are 2 ways to get to the bunker I'm looking for, which is located roughly in this area. 3 hills descend into a valley, and it's at the bottom of the valley. One is for me to bushwhack from here. What used to be, it looks like by the grade, was an old road bed. It's all dirt. That's how I found it originally the first time, was from this direction. Now, on the Lost Valley Trail, there are signs of an old road bed roughly down in here that extended past the trail that comes up to this point and then crosses with the other road bed that we're going to descend on. That one had a couple of houses. There are a couple of cemeteries along that old road bed. It's one for us to explore in the spring. It's easiest to find the cemeteries when the flowers are in bloom. So this is our target. We're bushwhacking from here. Wish me luck. This is obviously a dump site. Lots of remains of chain link fence, concrete, brick, a lot of trash, even some railroad ties in here. I haven't found evidence of the old road bed yet. We'll keep pushing on. Found it. As you can see behind me, nothing's really straight or flat in nature. This definitely has the appearance of having been graded at one time. What's really interesting about this is that it also seems like there's a cleared trail roughly down the middle of it. I expect it to be as overgrown as everything else around here. So maybe we'll get lucky and it'll stay that way all the way down to the bunker. We'll find out. So this is where we came from. It's difficult to tell, but directly ahead, coming down that hill, is the other road I was mentioning that had a couple of farms on it. And it's almost impossible to tell here, but continuing on downhill, you could get the sense that it was graded at one time, and that's our direction. Other than a huge briar patch I just worked my way through back there, this really hasn't been that difficult. So you can see there are rungs to climb down in there and a lot of water at the bottom, and I won't be doing that, and a pipe flows through it near the top. Okay, so I get the sense that I missed it somehow. I long ago lost any sign of the old road bed. If memory serves me correctly, that old road bed made a left into a valley, and that's where the bunker was. I'm going back to that concrete structure I showed you earlier for the water supply and take a look around that area. That's probably a quarter to a half mile behind me now. Well, I didn't think it was going to be easy. Well, after spending some time lost and turned around and hiking in the wrong valley for a bit, I'm fairly confident I'm back to the old road bed. None of this looks familiar. I know it's been a decade or so, but I'm looking for a stream that was spring-fed that flowed from the inside of the bunker through the doors. It was really cool to see. And I thought I could see that from the old road bed, or an obvious turn in the old road bed leading into the valley it was in. But scratched up again. I'm going to continue looking as long as there's daylight. So coming back up the road bed, I saw this culvert pipe, which showed me where the bend in the old road bed is. All right, maybe we'll be successful now. Found it. Unfortunately, it's so overgrown out here, you could barely see it through the gate, which has a new chain and lock on it. So getting access is not going to be easy. What I could do is the entire compound is fenced off. It's a huge concrete bunker with 2 metal doors that are open. Springs are flowing up from the floor inside the bunker and out through the doors to create a stream. And then farther up the hill behind the bunker is this huge, I don't know what it was, some liquid containment facility with about a 3-foot diameter pipe feeding into something maybe 50 feet in diameter and about 30 to 40 feet deep. It was huge. The inside of the bunker was interesting. It had all the supports for some kind of rail system suspended from the ceiling, lots of abandoned electrical panels, scaffolding, and what looks like sort of coffin lids on the floor arranged symmetrically. I have no idea what it was used for. If it wasn't for this invasive honeysuckle, we would be okay. Now let's see what we could find. So as you can see, there are some areas of the fence line where trees have fallen over it and mashed it down, making it possible to get in there. There used to be large signs posted all along this fence around the compound. Danger, keep out, those types of signs. I don't see any evidence of those now, but someone has been in there since I've been here because there's a lot of graffiti on the front of that bunker. Here we have a glimpse of the front of the bunker. I'm not able to actually get down to the front of it. I'm going to see, I know there was a side entrance too. I'll see if I can find that. Here we are at the side of the bunker. Some mini stalactites growing down from above the door there. I do have a small flashlight. I'm not sure how well it will illuminate inside. Let's find out. Alright, I don't exactly trust the scaffolding, especially with pieces missing. It's a bit of a drop. You can't really see the floor. It's covered in water. Huge pipe flows through here. We have multiple pipes entering from the other side. Scaffolding goes to the front. Multiple electrical panels. Pipe system, lights. There's the rail system suspended from the ceiling. Some kind of track. What I said looks like coffin doors here on the floor, maybe a half dozen of those. No idea what they use this area for. Oh, there's also a scaffolding on the other side of the building. Okay, let's take a look around inside this compound. Here you can see we have a concrete drainage area coming down the hill, directing the water away from the back of the bunker. We're going to the top of the hill behind the bunker. Okay, and behind me is what we have on the hill directly behind the bunker. You would never know this was here unless you accidentally stumbled upon it. You can't see this from anywhere except right next to it. Let's take a look in it. Okay, so directly opposite us is a large pipe, about 3 feet in diameter, feeding over the side down into here. This place is huge. I'm really surprised people have gone down there for graffiti. There is this ladder on the side, decades old and rusted, bolted to the side. I would not trust that. And there's some kind of drainage system to the right of the ladder. If I was to do that, I would repel. I wouldn't trust the ladder. Now to find my way back to the trail, there's the challenge. Well, there's another set of gates here at the top of the hill. As you can see behind me, they're wide open. And another old roadbed. Someplace new to explore. Let's see where it goes. So, I lost the roadbed a while ago, and I'm lost in the woods for the second time today. I'm going to head in the general direction I believe the trail is, So people often ask me if I've been lost in the woods before. My answer is always no, but I have been confused for long periods of time. And we're back. I even know where I am right now. I'm at the intersection of the Lost Valley Trail and the Short Loop. Life is good. You know, memory is a funny thing. I mean, that was really fun. That was quite the adventure. But in my memory, it was so much bigger than it was today. Oh well, it's probably the story for most of my life. It was way better than, you know, it was. Okay, so I'm heading back, but where I popped out on the trail, the railroad tracks that I'd found earlier are between where I am and the car. So I'm going to drop down to those when I get to them and explore those in the opposite direction, see where they went. I've still got daylight, an hour, hour and a half maybe, something like that. That's plenty of time. So one of the things I enjoy about living in this part of the country is the shoulder seasons especially. There's such a constant change in the weather. For example, here I am hiking in just a t-shirt, a little bit sweaty actually, and tonight we have a cold front coming in with the chance for sleet and snow. So, you know, tomorrow I don't think we're even supposed to get up to freezing. Yeah, it's constant change and it really makes it fun. Okay, we're back on the railroad track. Let's see where it goes. So this is rather interesting. It ends with these concrete piers with a about a 1-inch rebar coming out of the middle of each pier. There's 4 of them this way. And then we have another 16 in rows like this going off behind me, which leads me to believe there was a platform here at one time. Would have been interesting to see it when it was in use. Okay, from this point I'm just going to hike back to the car, call it a day. Thanks for watching.